Coming up on Mustang News, Cal Poly Police are looking for your help to find a suspect after an assault on campus. We'll give you a description.
A huge spring break party near UC Santa Barbara gets out of hand. We have video of what police are calling a civil disturbance.
And Mustang News reporters join Cal Poly ROTC members as they prepare to go to war.
Broadcasting from Studio 300 on Cal Poly's campus, you're watching Mustang News.
Thanks for joining us for our weekly broadcast of Mustang News. I'm Katie McDermott.
And I'm Leah Horner. Mustang News starts now. University police are still searching for the suspect involved in an assault on campus earlier this week. It happened on Tuesday night at about 10 p.m. in the Cerro Vista apartments. According to an emergency alert, the victim was walking in the Morrow building when she was attacked from behind. The unknown suspect grabbed the victim and reached under her skirt. She began to scream and the suspect ran away. The suspect is described as a Hispanic male in his 20s, wearing a dark gray hoodie with a thin blue line. Contact the University Police Department if you have any information.
What started out as a large day party in Isla Vista turned into what police were calling an unlawful assembly and an emergency situation. Julian Delgadillo takes a look inside the party.
The event known as Deltopia happens on the first weekend of UCSB's spring quarter, and this year drew a crowd of about 15,000. But it wasn't all fun and games. The sheriff's office says chaos broke out at about 9:30 on Saturday night.
And then we heard people rioting outside, and so we went outside to see what was going on and film some of it. But it was too dark and we couldn't see anything. All the riots were broken up by then. There was just security guards and there were people with riot shields, and they had batons. They were swinging at kids, like trying to get them to break up the fights and stuff.
More than 100 people were arrested, including 18 during the actual disturbance, and over 40 were transported to the hospital.
I was with my friend's cousin, and she texted us saying she got tear gassed, and she was at a party and they just threw tear gas into the party and everyone sprinted out, and it like makes you cry and stuff. And so I didn't want to go back after I heard that because she told me the riots had started.
And I wish it just stayed purely fun like it was in the beginning of the day, and I wish it hadn't turned into the riots, and I wish those cops hadn't gotten, I guess like cops got stabbed and like bottles thrown at them, and I wish all that stuff wouldn't have happened.
Authorities remained in the area Sunday morning, cleaning up broken glass and trash thrown throughout the neighborhood. Julian Delgadillo, Mustang News.
There were no serious injuries reported at Deltopia this year, but police are still investigating raw footage from the event.
The dance program is remembering a professor that taught full-time without taking any pay. Norm Tiber died suddenly on March 28th from a pulmonary embolism. He was 77 years old. Tiber was remembered for his generosity, sense of humor, and for teaching free dance lessons in San Luis Obispo. He taught dance at Cal Poly since 2004.
There is one less candidate for the race for ASI president after a disqualification last week. Civil engineering junior Will Blumhart was disqualified for not meeting election qualifications. The requirements include a 2.0 cumulative Cal Poly GPA, a 2.3 GPA for winter quarter, being a member of the student body, and not being on any sort of sanctioned probation. 15 ASI Board of Director members were also disqualified. With Blumhart out of the race, that leaves only 3 candidates running for president. Elections are set for April 23rd.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Cal Poly's SAFER program is putting on events to help raise awareness on campus. SAFER wants to educate students and the San Luis Obispo community about sexual assault prevention and how to support survivors. SAFER provides support for Cal Poly students through education, advocacy, and crisis counseling.
So we think that it's really important for students to gain a better understanding about what the actual issue is, and like I said, how we can help survivors and help for it not to happen anymore, basically. So yeah, that's what the month's about.
You can find a full calendar of events on the Cal Poly portal and the SAFER website.
The Orfalea College of Business is on the list for Bloomberg's best U.S. undergraduate business schools. Orfalea is ranked 70th on the list. This is the 6th time that the college has been included in the ranking of 132 U.S. undergraduate business programs. Cal Poly was one of 4 public universities in California to make the list. There was a total of 8 public and private California universities included.
WOW Leader numbers are breaking records this year. President Armstrong and Vice President of Student Affairs, Keith Humphrey, sent out an email with a video encouraging students to sign up as WOW Leaders the day before training began. In years past, there have been anywhere from 650 to 800 leaders. This year, 970 leaders came to the first meeting, which is the largest turnout the program has ever seen.
So hearing a message from them about how important their orientation experience is and how they can be part of the campus is really powerful for students to hear.
Mockford says the day after the email was sent, more than 200 students signed up.
A professor at Cal Poly has discovered 2 new planets. Physics professor David Mitchell works with a team of researchers that have discovered 7 planets total. Mitchell spent winter and spring quarter of 2013 on sabbatical in Germany, looking for planets and working with collaborators. Mitchell recently published a paper about the 2 newest planets. Their names are Tau Gem B and 91 Accuary B.
We look for something that's like the conditions on Earth, where it's the right temperature for liquid water and for an atmosphere to exist. And so while I don't really directly find life myself, I hope I can indirectly contribute to that goal.
Mitchell said he is confident that the team will find many more planets and said there is a good possibility of discovering life on other planets in the next 20 to 40 years.
Coming up after the break, we'll check out the soldiers on campus.
And we'll take you inside one Cal Poly Science Lab where a graduate student is single-handedly changing the future of solar energy.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these 2. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
For the test that determines their future in the military. We embedded with them to find out exactly what they're doing. Cal Poly ROTC members are preparing for their summer testing by going to war. This year, the battalion trained at Fort Hunter Liggett instead of Camp San Luis Obispo. The new surroundings help the third years learn to navigate new land like they will at Fort Knox in Kentucky for their testing this summer.
On top of not being in Camp SLO, we were just in a new area like we would be in Kentucky, so being unfamiliar with the terrain gave us kind of a more learning opportunity.
The weekend was designed to be identical to both this summer's testing and real-life combat.
Third years are given leadership positions, and then with those positions, they're given missions to execute, and they're evaluated on how well they can execute the mission they are given.
The third-year cadets have to carefully plan out how to move all 40 members of their platoon to the enemy. This weekend, the National Guard dressed up and played the enemy, giving the cadets a target to fight while also gaining feedback from the experts.
It was good because we had some input by actual soldiers who told us things that helped from a perspective of people who have been in the Army.
The platoons hiked over mountains and rocky terrain in all different weather extremes, but they pushed through and never stopped.
It rains and then it's super hot and people are tired. They've been walking around all day, carrying equipment, running around, kneeling, shooting.
For Kreisman and other members, this weekend was not only preparation for this summer, but for the future.
Things permitting, I'll graduate and I'll commission as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. That's the dream, that's the goal.
This summer, 12 of Cal Poly's third years will be headed to Fort Knox for a month each for their testing.
One Cal Poly graduate student is making organic compounds that may revolutionize science and also cut costs on those monthly electricity bills. Lisa Diaz went to the Polymers and Coating Science Lab to take a look at his work.
What's special and exciting about the research that we're doing is we're showing that a type of device that has not really been proven to be effective works.
Grant Olson is synthesizing zinc oxide as step one of a process that has the potential to lower your electricity bill. The graduate student is working to make solar power cheaper and more efficient. By synthesizing the inorganic compound zinc oxide and chemically bonding it to the organic electronic material polythiophene, consumers will someday save in cost per watt.
And to get those two to interact with each other is a bit of a challenge.
Putting the two together, Olson prints a functioning organic solar cell, something that has never been done successfully before. Inorganic solar panels are made out of silicone.
The devices that are made using silicon will be thick and brittle because of the way the material is set up, versus these organic devices, because they have high absorbances, you can make them very, very thin, which means that they can be flexible and also that it costs less in terms of material because you don't need as much.
With the ability of specialized equipment like a nitrogen glove box and the ability to make and control nanorods, Cal Poly provides Olson with all the tools he needs to be innovative.
So we can take it all the way from beginning to end, and we don't really have to consult anyone else or go outside of this university.
Lisa Diaz, Mustang News.
Well, I could definitely use that for my electricity bill. Olson won a second place award for his work at the Western Symposium for Coding. He was the only student honored. The rest were working professionals.
Cal Poly celebrated International Women's Day on Tuesday. Triota is the feminist activism community and Women and Gender Study Honor Society on campus. They hosted an event in the University Union to celebrate women. Some of the organizations that ran the booths were Her Campus Cal Poly, SAFER, Cross Cultural Centers, and KCPR. The vice president of Triota wants students to understand that the movement is not just for women.
It's not just a women's movement, it's a people's movement, and it's going towards equity, and it's, targeting things like equal voting rights or the right to drive.
Triota had quizzes, a memorial stand of influential men and women, and an interactive art display for the club fair. International Women's Day is officially March 8th, but Cal Poly celebrated Tuesday due to scheduling issues.
Students may have noticed the P was full of color last week. The rainbow design is in honor of Pride Month. The Pride Center is hosting more than 18 events during the month of April to celebrate the LGBTQIA community and promote awareness and education across campus. The theme for the month is Empowered by Pride. Organizers thought the connection between being empowered and being a superhero was fitting for the Pride community.
A lot of the superhero aspects, the hero's journey, can be mimicked in the story and journeys of LGBT youth who are finding themselves.
For a full list of events, you can visit the Pride Center's website.
Cal Poly's American Society of Mechanical Engineers Club won a top honor last weekend. They hosted and competed in this year's Student Professional Development Conference, taking first place in one of the design competitions. Morgan Butler was out at the competition.
17 schools from the Western United States gathered at Cal Poly to participate in the American Society of Mechanical Engineers Student Professional Development Conference this weekend. Cal Poly took first place in the unmanned air vehicle competition, where teams were challenged to design and build a UAV which could drop a weight and maneuver through obstacles under a time constraint. The entire conference consisted of 5 competitions, 3 presentation, and 2 design. Another challenge was to build and race a RC Baja car. The Baja competition consisted of a slalom trial and head-to-head races, which was won by Eastern Washington University. The conference focuses on more than just competitions, however, hosting various workshops including guest speakers and industry panels.
Beyond just having competitions where students compete, they also have a really good opportunity to see how industry will work in the future and to start to make the important connections they'll need in industry as well.
The conference also gives students a unique opportunity to both compete against and learn from other mechanical engineers from other universities.
These competitions really bring students together because, yeah, we all go to a bunch of different colleges, but we're all striving for innovation and striving to engineer the next and greatest thing that comes out.
A win at the district level means Cal Poly has earned a chance to compete at ASME's International Mechanical Engineering Congress and Exposition, which will be held in Montreal, Canada this November.
We're just hoping to show Cal Poly in the best light that we can as an ASME chapter.
Morgan Butler, Mustang News.
Cal Poly will be competing against 9 other teams from around the world when they travel to Montreal in November.
Well, weather's been kind of nice lately. It was really warm earlier this week. I'm wondering what it's going to be like this weekend. It's been going to be a little cool this weekend, and we're going to have a live shot. This is a live shot right now of Avila Beach. Coming up next, we're going to have weather.
And Olivia DeJaneiro will be with us for the weekend weather after the break.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at Food Safe.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything...
It is I, Cruz Zinkerbell. Okay, time for cake.
It's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
It was really nice and sunny earlier this week, loving the sun, but I wonder what it's going to be like this weekend.
Well, Olivia DeJaneiro is here with the answers.
Thank you, Katie and Leah. Yeah, we are seeing a cloudy, foggy morning. So definitely some patchy, dense fog today. And we're going to see that till about 11 a.m. So it should clear off pretty soon here. A high of 70 degrees today, a low of 50 degrees tonight. And coincidentally, we also have patchy, dense fog coming in after 11 p.m. tonight. And we should see gusts of wind up to 15 miles an hour. So we are experiencing a cooling trend right now. And again, we're going to see patchy, dense fog throughout the next week, a lot of partly cloudy skies. It will warm up a little bit on Sunday into the beginning of next week, but then it's going to cool back down again. So we are seeing some spring-like temperatures, or we're starting to at least. All right, across the Central Coast today, a high of 81 degrees in Paso Robles. That's the highest that we're going to see on the Central Coast. High of 76 in Atascadero. Towards the coast, highs in the high 50s, 71 here in San Luis Obispo today, 62 in Arroyo Grande, 68 in Napomo, and 63 in Santa Maria. Taking a look at the next 5 days, tomorrow we're going to see some partly cloudy skies again, a lot of patchy fog, a high of 65 tomorrow, so cooling down significantly, and a low of 48 for your Friday night. On Saturday, patchy fog, clouds again, we're going to see that, like I said. A high of 63 for your Saturday and a low of 48, so it's not going to be very warm during the daytime. For Sunday, 66, warming up just a little bit like we were talking about that warming trend, but again, a low of 49. Going into the beginning of next week, again, highs in the mid-60s, 67, a low of 50. And on Tuesday, 64 degrees is your high and 49 is your low. So as you can see, clouds across the board, patchy fog across the board. The weather should be predictable for the next week, although who knows with the Central Coast. Back to you, Leah and Katie.
Thanks for that, Olivia. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty nice weekend. Women's tennis took their first conference win this season. We'll have more on how they did last weekend coming up next.
The week tells us what he does to prepare for each baseball game coming up.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Have you already enrolled? You're doing fine. What did that just do? Select the drop-down menu again. Wait. You're already enrolled. Example here, so don't panic. You're ready to make your payment. Submit. There it is. Oh my God! I really can't believe it. That's awesome. Good for you.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
All right, we've got Julian Delgadio here in the set with us today to tell us about sports.
Thank you, Leah. Cal Poly Baseball is preparing for its next game after Tuesday's win against St. Mary's College. The Mustangs are 27-5 on the season. Cal Poly is tied with UC Irvine for the best record in the Big West Conference. Mustang pitcher Casey Bloomquist has a total of 43 strikeouts in 9 games, making him Cal Poly's Athlete of the Week. Bloomquist sat down and talked with us about how he prepares for each game.
Hitting cages, and I close my eyes and I try and go on a 5-minute vacation to Hawaii. Just let my mind go, just relax for 5 minutes and just try and get away from the baseball field before I have to go out and compete.
Bloomquist and the baseball team will be traveling to Hawaii to take on the 14-16 Rainbow Warriors this Friday. The Cal Poly softball team will be returning home this weekend after winning the Blue-Green rivalry game with a score of 14-1 against rival UC Santa Barbara. Freshman right-hander Sarah Hyland threw a complete game and only gave up 3 hits to UC Santa Barbara. Hyland's offense set a new single-game hit record for the Mustangs since 1998. Sierra gives more information on the team's plans for the rest of the season.
We just started our 3rd series in conference this coming up weekend, actually, and we've been playing really well this season so far, and we hope to take the conference championship and just keep producing runs like we have been, and since we know we can, we might as well do it.
The Cal Poly softball team will be playing UC Davis this Saturday on the Bob Jensen Field at 4 p.m. Cal Poly women's tennis is practicing for their matchup against UC Santa Barbara after defeating UC Riverside 7-0, earning their first Big West Conference win of the season. Cal Poly faced both Long Beach State and UC Riverside in 2 home matches this weekend. Cal Poly lost to Long Beach State 2-5 on Saturday, but the Mustangs rallied back to sweep UC Riverside on Sunday, winning the doubles point all 6 of their single matches. This is the first Big West Conference win for Cal Poly women's tennis.
Every match we play is usually going to be a tough battle, and we know that Santa Barbara is not going to be any different, so just keeping competitiveness for the weekend.
Cal Poly hosts rival UC Santa Barbara this Saturday at 2 p.m. Cal Poly football is already prepping for next season, and single practice is now in full swing. Lisa Diaz went out to the practice field to get insight as to who will be replacing some big defensive names and who might be under center.
Strapping their helmets and putting on the pads, the Cal Poly football team ran onto the field for this year's first spring practice. At this point, head coach Tim Walsh does not know who will be taking snaps for the green and gold next fall, but says both Chris Brown and Dano Graves are starting strong.
Chris and Dano both took 5 each. One was 4 for 4 with a run, and the other was 5 for 5. So 9 out of 9, and making the right decisions with the football and putting the ball in catchable positions.
And the production even impressed Cal Poly's defensive transfer from the Pac-12.
You looked at them executing, they were very disciplined. I would say they looked better than, WSU ever did on our first day of spring ball. So that was pretty impressive.
Both quarterbacks say they spent the offseason focusing on film study and working with coaches.
I met with him more this time than last year. I was calling him consistently. We had more talks on the phone than last year, so I feel like it was a better connection.
Cal Poly's biggest hurdles to knock over this spring are filling the holes on defense.
There's some young players that are going to have to play meaningful downs for the first time in their career, and they don't have to be Sullivan Gross right away or Johnny Millard right away, but they got to be good, efficient players.
But one player knows a thing or two about meaningful downs, even as a freshman.
It was like a pass play, and I got off the ball kind of fast, and so I got around the edge, I was rushing the quarterback, and I look and I see Andrew Luck right here in front of me. And I was kind of caught up in the moment, like, oh my gosh, that's Andrew Luck in front of me, and then just got clobbered by the tackle.
Lisa Diaz, Mustang News.
Wide receiver Willie Tucker was not there with the team, but has decided to not transfer out of Cal Poly and will be returning to the team in the fall.
Well, thanks for that, Julian. Stay with us. Coming up next, we have Pollywood.
Vomiting,
puking,
throwing up,
vomiting, puking,
throwing up,
cold, clammy,
blue,
cold, clammy,
blue.
Their breathing slows,
hostile, unresponsive,
passed out,
unresponsive.
You can't wake them up.
If you're dealing with somebody who's so intoxicated that you have to stop and ask yourself, gee, I wonder if they need help, they need help. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait until you're having to do CPR because they stopped breathing or because they aspirated on their own vomit. Get them help.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
We've got Mallory St. George on set today to bring us with Pollywood.
Thanks, ladies. We have a couple things coming up this weekend in Pollywood. First, we've got Coachella. Coachella Music and Arts Festival kicks off tomorrow. And the festival will run from Friday to Sunday and again the weekend of April 19th. There's expected to be more than 90,000 people at each weekend. If you can't make it out to Indio, you can catch some Coachella acts right here in SLO. Brit pop singer Kate Nash will take the desert stage on Friday and will be back at SLO Brew next Tuesday. Here's a look at some upcoming acts for SLOchella. For ticket information and times, you can go check out slowbrewingco.com. Local musicians and stores around SLO are coming together for an event known around the world. World Record Store Day was created back in 2007 by independent record store owners as a way to celebrate the music culture and people who keep the stores running. Stores normally host special appearances and events for the day. Boo Boo Records will have local musicians perform in store, hundreds of limited edition albums and vinyl records, and free silk screening.
Like to have something they connect to music in a very different way, and this is a way that all those people can kind of be out and hang out together.
All right, that's all we have for Pollywood today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks so much, Mallory.
Thanks for watching our 30-minute broadcast of Mustang News.
For continuous broadcast coverage, visit mustangnews.net.
Have a great day, Cal Poly.